Für dieses Jahr verabschiedete Paul Wallfisch am 30. November sein Small Beast mit zwei besonderen Künstlern in die Weihnachtsferien. Zunächst verzauberte Scott Matthew das Publikum mit seinem akustischen Set und außergewöhnlichen Coverversion. Selbstverständlich spielte Paul zu Beginn erst einmal sein eigenes Set. Nach der Pause erschien zunächst Hausdrummer Brian Viglione. Und danach David J. David J. prägte mit Bauhaus das Gothic-Genre. Aktuell hat er sich dem Cabaret oder Dark Cabaret verschrieben. Freundlicherweise stand er dem Innenstadt-Ostblock nach dem Soundcheck für einige Fragen zur Verfügung. Welche Musik können die Zuhörer heute Abend erwarten?
Well, tonight's set is leaning towards the cabaret end of the spectrum, and I'm very pleased to be here with Paul Wallfisch, who really can he can portray that kind of music with a lot of confidence and great style. And we have Brian from the Dresden Dolls on drums, playing a really little jazz kit, and two new musicians, German musicians, Axel on the violin and Oliver on the stand-up bass. And we've just done one rehearsal for this show, but it went very well, and I feel very privileged to be playing with these musicians. They're really great.
Woher kennen Sie Paul Wallfisch?
I know Paul from when he worked with Love and Rockets on an album called Sweet FA, and he was the engineer, really co-producer on that record, which we recorded when Paul was living in Los Angeles at his home studio, in his garage actually.
Was fasziniert Sie so an Cabaret?
I've always been drawn towards this kind of cabaret, even going back to the very start of Bauhaus. I think I just like the way that it deals with politics and humour and really just the whole of human emotion. But I mean, going back to the 20s and 30s, it was put into, you have to see it in the context of that time, the socio-political climate of that time. And I think that in these days there's some resonance there with the economic problems and just this sort of all the turmoil that's going on, the fighting, and I think it's a very cataclysmic time as it was back then, especially just before the Second World War. You know, when cabaret was really thriving, and I think it's a way of portraying the zeitgeist in a very visceral, immediate way that the audience relate to. And I don't know, I just feel I've always felt an affinity with that kind of style, and because I have Brian from the Dresden Dolls, who really have done a lot to bring back cabaret, and as they term it, punk rock cabaret. And I think there's a connection between that kind of the traditional German cabaret, European cabaret, and punk. I think there's a connection there, and I come from punk rock. Really, that's where I started. You know, my first serious band. It was kind of serious, but 1976. You know, was a big turning point in the UK when punk happened, and yeah, there's a connection there. Somehow there's a connection between punk and cabaret. This kind of cabaret.